The tragic, true, horrific story of Lily Peters.
The 14-year-old boy charged in Lily Peters' death told a detective that he intended to and kill her.
Lily Peters was a 10-year-old girl, fourth grade student from the very small town of Chippewa, Wisconsin. On Sunday, April 24th, 2022, Lily rode her bike to her aunt's house like she usually would, and later on that evening grabbed her bike and started to ride back to her dad's house, a trip she's taken many times before, but she never made it home. Her dad didn't think too much of it at first, thought maybe she got caught up playing and having fun, but as time went by, he started asking around the block and family members if they've seen Lily. At around 9 p.m., Lily's father calls police and reports Lily missing, but sadly, no Amber Alert was put out due to not meeting the 4 or 5 extremities to do so, which is just complete. Later on that Sunday night, police began searching for Lily, and they found her bike near a wooded area by a walking trail near her aunt's house, but Lily was nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, just 12 hours later, on Monday, April 25th, at approximately 9:15 a.m., her body was found with no pants on in the woods near her aunt's house, close to a walking trail in a brewery's parking lot, which was basically not far from where they had found her bike the night before. It's just insane. That's only a 2-minute bike ride from her aunt's to where they found her body, so she didn't even get far that night, and it's only a 4 to 5 minute bike ride from her aunt's to her dad's to begin with. On Tuesday, April 26th, authorities took into custody a 8th grade 14-year-old suspect by the name of Carson Peters Berger. Carson made some comments to authorities and his younger sister on how he planned to essay and murder the poor 10-year-old Lily, and how he had planned this, in his own words, from the get-go. Worst part about it all wasn't even the fact that he specifically detailed how he would do it and did it exactly that way, but the fact that Lily was actually his younger cousin. Just sickening. He told detectives that he intended to essay and kill her, and did so by luring her off the trail and suggesting they explore the woods a little, and told them that he had bit her at some point. But what comes next is very chilling and disturbing, and discretion is advised. Basically, on that Sunday evening, they left their aunt's house together, her in her bike and him in his hoverboard, knowing exactly his intentions and what he planned to do next. Once he told her to explore with him and lured her off the trail, he hit her with a large stick in the head 3 times. When Lily fell to the floor, he got on top of her and strangled her to death. Then after he believed that she was dead, he removed her pants and essayed her. I've watched and covered plenty of these types of stories, but just hearing and writing that his little cousin just makes me sick to my stomach, and it's hard to fathom. Carson then stated that he got scared and ran home, showered, and threw his dirty clothes in the laundry. Then when he heard that they were out looking for Lily, he went back to the crime scene, moved the body, and covered it up with leaves. Carson was also at Lily's vigil the night that she was found, and people in the community mentioned remembering seeing him hugging and comforting his family, which is just cynical and evil, knowing exactly what he just had done. Lily's autopsy showed that she had bite marks on her left buttock. She also had SA tear and trauma to her backside, and blunt force trauma to the left side of her head. Honestly, the bite marks just remind me of Ted Bundy and are very Ted Bundy-like. Exactly what he used to do to his victims. Just crazy to think, because we're talking about a 14-year-old kid here. But often or many times when crimes are committed by children, it's because they too have been victims themselves. And Carson's father is actually a convicted ped. 37-year-old Adam Berger was arrested in 2018 and served 3 years for possession of explicit content, including underage girls. In an eerie letter that surfaced from his incarceration back in 2020, he is begging the judge to allow him unsupervised visits with his son, calling his boy the best of him, which is just plain disturbing. Adam is currently living in a halfway house on supervised probation since his release back in 2021. Some members of the family have also stated that Carson has not been happy since his father's incarceration and unhappy with his mother about the whole situation, and just kind of says something. At the moment, Carson faces the following charges: first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree SA, and first-degree SA of a child. It's still being handled by adult court at the moment, even though the grandma of both Lily and Carson has fought to take it to juvie court instead, claiming so he can get the help that he needs, which is just absurd considering the fact that the grandma was the one that called the cops when the young sister told her about it. Carson's hearing was supposed to be in September of 2022, but his legal team has prolonged it by a judge reassignment, which is starting to seem real common in these cases I'm covering, and a few other notions, and isn't rescheduled now to take place until August of 2023. Just ridiculous. But Carson remains behind bars, and if convicted, can be facing up to decades in prison. What's insane is if he was willing to be this cynical with his little cousin, can only imagine what he could have done to someone else. And if it wasn't poor Lily, he definitely would have struck at some point. And as for poor little Lily, can only imagine how terrified, frightened, and confused she must have been when her cousin just began to attack her. She probably thought that she was just going on another adventure with her cousin, and we know what happens. Just so devastating and disturbing, and I hope Lily may rest in peace. This crime was brought to you by CrimeTvDez. If you're like me and are interested in true horrific stories, please be sure to click that follow button.